All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
To Your Eternity, Season 1, Episode 13.
All right. We're way past the halfway point, and Fushi's
Gugu's gone.
Yeah, and Fushi's going to become, a bit of a wanderer again, or not. We'll see about where he goes after this. But Reen is aware of what happened.
Yep.
There was a bit of a deception that was used before he left, and she knows
what
happened. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
That'd
be too cruel otherwise.
Yeah,
but
give her that kind of hope.
Right.
Now,
but some of the forms are gone.
Yeah, now he has to go actually seek out the knockers if he wants back the forms that he lost.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens on the long-term side of things with him not having those forms.
Right.
There's probably some mechanics with regards to that, not just being the fact that he can't transform into them, but
we know that he grows when he stays in one form for too long.
Exactly, right. So if he can't switch around too often...
Right, because we don't know whether he still has the wolf. We know that he lost the bear in March.
Yeah.
But the wolf's up in the air.
Yeah. Usually it runs on the ground, but sometimes it can jump pretty high. So it gets pretty high up in the air like that.
Yes.
Yeah. But, okay. New arc. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, so tournament arc.
No show is safe from tournament arcs.
Yeah, I guess not. But also, Pioran went with him. Right. I really loved the way she forced this whole situation.
That was awesome. It was real good
I
stuff.
liked that. Fu actually asking questions of the being, and us by the way that he answers in ways that Fushi doesn't understand, but we more understand. There's an aspect of the being that makes him more to be the world than just a godlike alien supreme being entity.
Right.
Because of the way he came out of the ground. That was a very specific extra detail, but also the way he talked about the knockers as if they're bugs crawling on your skin that then get big enough to where it becomes like an irritation that's like constant.
An itch and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit, well if he's the world, like he's everything, then that's a very clear path also is where
all is one. Yeah.
Well, right, but that's where Fushi can then become that, is that as he stimulates himself to where he knows everything about this world, he might as well become the world.
Right, because theoretically, since he can also turn into inanimate objects or create them, then you could just become a planet. You
could become the planet. So in a lot of ways, I think...
And at that point, you first catapult yourself off the planet so you don't destroy the planet you're on.
The idea is that I think that this being is projecting itself into his subconscious via his ascended form. This is not This is not what he became in the sense that it's he's some kind of physical object. Like when he tried to interact with him, he's not there. He's not physical.
But he did actually break through the ground in order to show up. That might just be like a stylistic choice because I feel like that really doesn't make sense. But given that he passed through him, But
there's two ways I think it very much does potentially make sense. Is that one, it's a way to tell us, like you were saying, that he's from the earth. He's of this.
Right.
So that's one thing. But also there could be a transmutation that's happening. That the actual physical material needs to be somewhat consumed in some way to let off the energy that he then appears as this waveform.
Yeah, something like that, right?
And that could be it. But
But the fact that he can actually call out to this being, right? Because from before it would be like it would show up almost like it was some ethereal, otherworldly, wandering god entity, right? That would just be like, hey, by the way, here's an update, right?
Right.
As opposed to
something that's omnipresent.
Yeah.
That he can essentially call upon at any point, which is now a thing. And he's like, oh, this is the first time you've done this.
Right. Yeah, it's like,
he could have been doing this for a while now if he wanted, but...
But then that's also something where, assuming it's not like you said, of the consuming the ground to, cause the thing to happen because there's an energy requirement or whatever.
Sure.
That gives him additional levels of basically manipulation of his state, because then it might not just be something of, oh, I'm non-physical so you can't interact with me, but it might be more like Vision in Marvel, where it's I can choose to be incorporeal if I so desire, right? Because he also had control over Fushi's transformation abilities and is able to turn him out of being an inanimate object, which is also a big deal.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, and in all intents and purposes, he is he is an omnipotent being, and yet he does not have the ability to control the will of Fushi.
Right.
Thus, he does not have the ability to control the will of the knockers.
Yep.
He would have to interact with them in such a way that would be a physical interaction, which probably runs the risk of him then having to be a physical being, which could then maybe cause them to actually hurt him. And that's why he was saying their goal of killing us, meaning they have the opportunity to potentially
kill
through
me as
some way of what have you killing me if things go too far.
Right.
So
and even though Fushi said, like, you know, be honest with me and everything, there's a good chance that he's still, you know, obfuscating or deceiving, you know, in some way. But okay, that was a lot of information that we got, even though it wasn't like it wasn't too much like blatant information exposition. Here's the situation, kind of a deal.
Yeah, my favorite reveal basically was something that I had come to expect. Basically, was that when he's losing a form, there's some shit that goes down basically with that form disappearing. Like, one, he does not have access to it anymore. It's not being like a part of it ripped away, and then they kind of do a bastardized version of that transformation. He can no longer transform into that version, of course, but also he does not even remember like the form itself and the being that it was. He remembers some of his experiences while in that form.
Exactly.
But it's through this voided out form of like, no. I don't know what I was when that was happening.
It feels very much like how people will observe black holes. It's you don't observe it directly because it doesn't work, but you observe the stuff around it that is affected by it, and then, okay, you can kind of get this sense of where it is.
Right, which is why in a lot of cases, the black holes that you think of in your mind are enormous. Like, they're ridiculously huge, because then there's all this extra stuff around it that's
who knows what the
it.
actual singularity thing is, right?
Right. Yeah. So then the actual, like, the tiny black holes and stuff like that, you'll be like, I can't... We're looking at the void of space already. It's not affecting enough to be visible on even the naked eye.
But so in this situation here, we're now in a new situation. Pioran is traveling with him. Awesome. And very quickly, it just goes bad, right?
Because, it was about halfway through the episode, though.
Right, but they
went and had a bunch of like meals and stuff together.
That's true. That's true.
Stuff. So it was a good period of time. It was basically them encountering civilization in the hardiest aspect for the first time, and once they had a goal to go to some place that was another point of civilization, they got everything screwed up.
It felt like a much darker version of like if an obvious tourist goes to like a big city, you know, and you have like the pickpockets that are like, sweet, we can, you know, or even not like pickpockets, but just like the people that run like the tourist scams basically, and it's like, all right, cool, we can get these people, but in this case it's kidnappers and slavers and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the things that's kind of a fun little bit of world building here is that, it's a weird way to look at it, but the girl that instigated all this has like little to no empathy with regards to this.
Oh yeah.
So this is a thing that's kind of a cold aspect of the world here, Fushi. But you can't necessarily trust anyone.
Right.
And this is something that maybe even you were taught incorrectly about the world because of your wonderful experience with Gugu.
Sure.
Is that that's not a common thing.
Yeah, that's not normal.
What you had with Gugu was very special and very unique.
Yep.
But the reason why the being, I think, kind of was like, also, I don't want you to stay here, is it's going to hamper your progression in understanding the world because you'll see it only through the lens of Gugu.
Right. Normally, it takes a lot less than a disfigured face for someone to decide to screw your life.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, exactly. All they need is a little bit of greed.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what this girl's motivation was to do this. There might have been something where she's like paying off a debt, like she's got some
she's
kind of
also
thing.
one of the prisoners or whatever.
Yeah, and she needs to like do her
she has
part
a quota
or something. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see where this tournament kind of thing will go into. But I loved the way she proudly like slapped the like image of like the brackets, and I was just like, oh my god.
I even when she slapped the brackets, I thought she was actually showing like the layout of the place or something. I'm like,
really?
Okay, so there's like all these different like levels, you know, where the prisoners are kept, you know, and then it's like,
okay,
and then I saw the Colosseum, I was just like, oh my god, you're. Okay, of course, right? Yeah, they get a bunch of murderers and bring them here. Like, because that was one of the things that I was wondering is when they said, they gather a bunch of murderers and because 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but and they are very clearly brackets. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just this funny thing where I looked at this and I immediately died inside in like the best possible way because there's sometimes ways that you can tell, and Jacob and I have talked about this, when a story is published in a certain, by a certain publisher,
and there will be certain expectations because of the demographic.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and we were watching, this anime, and the knockers were introduced, and Jacob and I were like, huh? Knockers don't really fit this story as much,
right? Okay. This fits even less, but the knockers as precedent.
The knockers as precedent.
It's like,
allows
okay, this is the direction we're going.
Thing to be a thing that could happen.
But I just want to bring attention to first episode. Almost no dialogue whatsoever, and it's the slow death of a.
That was the test pilot episode,
right?
Essentially.
And then the first arc, March, and this tough medieval world and things like that, and struggling to survive and family and all that, and now. We're just tournament arc.
I mean, from the standpoint of if you were going to have this story exist at all, you're going to cover an infinite period of time. So if you're going to give us characters that slow down the pace so that we can then get attached to them, you're going to have points where the story will have a focus on this kind of character's difference that they bring to Fushi's life, and then this character's difference, and then this character's difference. And as you would do this, you would have probably, for the most part, more time skips than not, really, in between these moments there as he gains new knowledge. But really, we've only had one kind of genuine time skip.
And that didn't change the cast immediately. The cast changed after that.
No, it changed Fushi primarily. The main thing was that it basically gave Fushi all the human qualities that he was missing.
He's a full person now. He's still a bit different compared to your average Joe, but yeah. And I feel like Pioran is that next step because when I think about this show and Fushi as a character and what he is in this world, right? Theoretically, he could train for as long as he needs to, right?
Yeah.
He could do the anechoic time chamber, but just without the time chamber, and it would be just fine, right? Like, as long as he stays ahead of the knockers. But Pioran is now the character that's basically the carryover character across the arcs, right? Of, even when you lose someone here and there, right? I'll keep traveling with you, right?
Sure.
But if/when she dies, right?
She's gonna
die.
Right.
Fushi will not necessarily have any direct connection to the other members of the cast because they have exited stage left, right? And because he is actively invested in not bringing them into the story because the knockers could end up killing them, right?
The story could change again.
The story could change again and change much more dramatically,
right? Because
then you could actually have something that's more of like the, 100 years later or something like that, right?
And I think that's going to happen eventually, but given that, from what I've heard, this story does not end with season 1. There's more that can be that can come from that. So I would say that that's something that doesn't even have to happen anytime soon. Like, have more of Fushi learning who he is rather than more things about the world, really.
Right.
Because I think that that's more engaging for the immediate portion of the story. And with this tournament arc being maybe just a thinly veiled way to have him question whether or not he's a murderer, that could be actually a really cool thing to get into here, because these kids, they're kids, but he's pretty pissed off at the one girl. So I could see him having this question of like, I'll kill a flower crab, which that was a hilariously cute thing that felt straight out of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right.
Then there's an owl. No, that's my partner, and it's like, oh, I get it. Okay.
Right. Just like we've had situations where it's like, yes, March is cute and adorable, so please don't kill her. But when, even if you have a cute and adorable design, if you're helping slavers kidnap people, no, maybe that's, Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if Fushi will get a morality conundrum of sorts through this section of the story, or if this is actually going to be one of those shorter sections of the story where you think it's like going to be this big tournament arc, and it's like, nah, it's actually just 2 episodes.
That's a good point, because I think we only have 3 fights based on these brackets.
No, we have 3 layers of fights.
No, right, but okay, yeah, we could see the fights of the other people to build up the opponents and things like that, right? But from the way this goes, if Fushi goes the whole way, it'll just be the 3 fights, right?
For Fushi, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fushi can only have 3 fights max, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll hold out. I'll hold off judgment for now. I'm more.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm more just like laughing because I think this barely fits in the story. But
it's like,
hey, let's try it.
Like, I feel like this is a similar thing to like when the beach episode gets like brought up, except this is like, but it's an arc, not an episode, right?
But we don't know it's an arc really yet.
No, that's true. Hey,
there's no obvious form that he's going to be grabbing from this right here, right? It's not going to be the owl.
No, like I get the feeling he'll probably he's realized that he needs a flying form at some point.
Yes.
So
yes,
maybe not.
Well,
that owl,
the owl was in the ED. The owl was in the ED, so that's a possibility. But that might be just more of an animal, like just general.
Yeah,
thing.
He's realized that it's dog eat dog here. So once they're not looking, he just he keeps practicing with that bow because he's like, eventually I'm gonna figure out how to snipe that owl.
Right.
And
although I would just love to see him in Gugu's form, kind of letting out his frustrations. That could be
that would be pretty terrifying.
That could be pretty dark too.
And it could also be a fun way of like, oh wait, am I kind of honoring Gugu's memory by using his body and the strength that he developed in order to protect me? Yeah, if he could see me now, right?
What would he
right?
And we know that something is keeping the spirits of March and Gugu, even if that was just a metaphysical, theoretical kind of visual metaphor of some kind for us. It might not be. It might actually be a thing of where when Gugu died, March was still there.
Right. That's not just a thematic thing anymore, right? Like,
it might be that he's actually carrying the spirits of all those forms that he's taken. So maybe this is a weird way of thinking about it. I would love to see if when like the next person that's close to him that dies that he takes the form of, if March is no longer there, if March's spirit is no longer there. Because Gugu
actually
still has the form of.
No, I think we actually that was already addressed, because by the time that Gugu died,
you're right.
Yeah, yes. March was already taken, so that's
forget what I'm saying. Yeah,
but what we could have that could be kind of silly, but also like there's levels of how
to this,
dark and layered this could get, but if he just theoretically slaughters all the people in the tournament, right? Because this is definitely not a defeat them until they say uncle. This is a kill them tournament, right?
Something else.
Like there's a reason that they get all the murderers and stuff for this, because they're experienced with that.
Thankfully, we can almost guarantee that Pioran is not going to be in this tournament.
Right, exactly.
She's too old. She won't be entertaining for whoever fucked up people do this stuff.
Exactly.
But also, that actually means on some level, she might be doing something that's very like light labor task.
Yeah, I'm guessing
she might be serving people in the stands or something.
I'm guessing that's why they get the people that aren't the murderers. Is they get the murderers. They don't actually need as many of them, because they're the people that fight in the tournament. Yeah. But for everyone else, it's all right, we need labor. You're going to be, digging tunnels, helping, like develop the Colosseum and repair it, clean it, making food for people, just doing all of that stuff, right?
That's probably what she's doing, is that they're probably like, oh, you can cook? You can like prepare food? She's like, no. Okay, you can make it, you can use heat, properly.
I really want to use the Thor Ragnarok quote of the get the slice. Oh no, we don't say that around here. Prisoners with jobs. There we go. But
I love that line so much.
It's so
not
good.
Even because of the prisoners with jobs part, but it's the way Jeff Goldblum's like,
right. But
So good.
Okay.
But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. All this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
we stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all next time.